right? And
Yeah.
so it charges in a case like
Like your
yeah.
earbud. Yeah.
And then everything when it's in the case syncs with each other.
That's awesome.
And you take it out and it turns on by itself.
Oh, really
And
easy.
and then it comes with this jack that plugs right into your phone. It's recording me right now. And it comes in with the jack for the it comes with all the jacks. All the jacks you need.
All the jacks and Jills.
All the jacks.
Yeah,
so
the really cheap, the cheapy one I have. I think this is what you mean, that it has the thing that it just goes right into your phone.
Yes.
Okay.
So it comes with the jack for your iPhone, for your Android phone, and for a real camera. So you're ready to go. I mean, you on your phone, you take the picture of the little UR code, and it's all good. That's it.
Wow.
Make sure that it's on headphone. That's it.
Yeah. Wow. I might have to check that one out. I like both of them, but it's a shame that like you and Maureen had to have that chat about the wire, and they can't tell you after spending all that money on the other one, the Rhodes.
There's a lot more good and all the good YouTubers are switching to this one.
Oh, okay.
So that tells you a little
bit. Yeah, about it.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah, I noticed it was a little bit cheaper because they just actually Rhodes put theirs on sale to come close to that one, because they must be getting a lot of negative feedback about, hey, this other one's easier, and they must be seeing the trend switch away from them.
Right.
But yeah, DJI products are awesome. They've got good stuff. And now the dog's gagging and the son is dancing around like crazy.
I still have to speak a little bit louder, but I still have my Rhodes for backup,
Yeah.
But this is just so much more compact. You can throw this in. It comes with the little fuzzies and everything that the Rhodes came with and more. So
hey, Miss T. I always want to say Mrs. T. Hey, Miss T. Good to see you. Miss T, I did find that information that Peach brought up. It is there. It affects monetization. And yeah, they can go after. They can also switch your videos to 18 and over. So yeah, that's for anybody who might smoke on your live or smoke on panel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And like some people don't care, but I don't want to do that to somebody else's panel if it might cause some kind of problem with their monetization.
Right.
Not that I smoke, but I mean, if I smoked the other stuff, that I do gummies on.
Yeah.
Once in a blue moon. DJ drone. It's a shame there is a bill out there. Wow. Yeah, it's probably because they have people that just don't use common sense using them.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah, they do that. Yeah. Well, maybe it's your older ones. Maybe. My girl. Sexy lady. But yeah, I just didn't want anybody to, have that happen where it's an advertiser rule too.
Yeah.
So they don't want any kind of smoking. The advertisers don't want that. So then of course YouTube has to pass on that information. I know, isn't he the coolest gamer in the world? He's so good about coming in and supporting.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And Buddha usually is too, but it's her birthday, and she's supposedly at her pool with her mom, chilling and enjoying her birthday.
I see.
No, it goes deeper than that, but I will get into that on Sunday night.
So what's the agenda today? Looks like an awesome topic.
Oh, I know. He was talking about the DJI drone, the drone.
Yes. I have a DJI drone too, and we like it too.
Yeah, I have the cheap one that I still haven't learned how to use from that Chinese place.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. It's still modified for USB. to watch some. Okay. Yeah. I tried to keep that in the privates. I didn't want to, but since you were in here and it was discussed, I went and I did find it, and it's really the advertisers. So, and then YouTube adopted it. I just remember that happening because somebody came on and started just smoking pot right there on my, live. Yeah.
Okay. Not good.
Yeah, not good. Like right after the rule went in effect, and they knew the rule because they do that kind of thing, over on somebody else's channel, and she had told them not to do that. So yeah. Anyway, done is done. So today it was just Miss T. Yeah, that was purposeful. That happened to me, and I flat out was like, you can't do that. And it was funny. He didn't come back after that. He came back and was in the side chat, and it was like, can I come up? But I'm like, maybe next time, because I noticed he only came over when there was drama, and I was like, you know what? If you're that simple-minded that you're doing somebody else's dirty work, no.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, nobody needs that.
No.
But today was about parenting children of like special needs, but say you have ADHD yourself, or you are OCD, or you are, just on the spectrum somewhere, or any other thing that is a special need that you have, and how do you try and overcome that? And I was going to give the example, like today, in the past, Aid, you were there that night. In the past, I would go into his doctor's office and I wouldn't bring in much with me. I would just figure, I'll remember what I want to ask her.
Right.
Always without fail, I would get home and be like, oh, forgot to ask her, I'm
the same way. Yeah.
This time I started writing stuff down. I want to say the other day I started the list, and then I took the list, and to make it very ADHD friendly for myself, I put it on yellow paper, because they say those yellow pads are better for people with ADHD, like anything that has that.
Well, any kind of learning disability.
Yeah.
That yellow paper, it really helps you, and writing things down really helps you memorize things too.
Yeah.
So just having that, just writing it down before you go to the doctor is going to help you memorize that very thing.
It did. So, it helped me. It helped my recall a lot better. Also, I find too, like, it depends on how you process information the best. If I read something and I want to remember it, I will read it out loud to myself, so I hear it auditorily, not just visually, because my working memory seems to work a little bit better if I hear myself read something out loud.
Yes.
And my husband is a major reader. He's just really quiet and reads a lot. I am not, because of the mild dyslexia. But I love, like, if I can get them in something I'm interested in, I love listening to an audiobook if it's something I'm interested in. Even stories that are like, girl stories, like romances, I would, but I won't buy them. Like, if it's free or I can earn it, by watching some advertising, I'll listen to it. Yeah. But that was just like one of those tips that I wish somebody would have given me a long time ago. Like, right. I know they say write it down, but the writing it down and keeping, that was the other thing. I kept it right next to me. I kept it at where I sit the most, and this right here, I kept it right next to me, and I didn't move it around, so I knew where it was.
Yeah.
Hey,
traveling and gardening.
Hey, travels and gardening with DJ. Welcome in.
With my dyslexia, I find that if I read it out loud, I have a harder time memorizing it, because I'm more severely dyslexic than you are, and I think it because I'm reading it out loud, I'm so conscious on how I'm reading it.
Oh yeah.
I forget what I'm actually reading. So if I read it quietly, then I have a better time memorizing it. And I actually read better. I don't know. There's something about I don't know if it's trauma that I went through when I was younger. Reading out loud was always very
yes, it was for
yeah, because when you're dyslexic and you're reading out loud in front of people, it can be very devastating.
Yes,
because you feel smaller than everybody else. So,
well, yeah, and kids can be mean too.
Yes,
kids can be so mean, and yeah, I totally understand. And that's what it might be related to more than anything else, is that trauma from your childhood of being called on. Plus there's anxiety anyway of being called on in class, and then add that on top of it. Right. And then add that social aspect of with kids who can be
right. Right.
Yeah, that's a lot. And he was actually the video I watched about mitochondrial dysfunction. He was talking about the fight or flight syndrome, kicking that mitochondrial dysfunction off for some people. And he's like, it doesn't become like a dysfunction, say, when that event happens. Your body is doing what it's supposed to do to protect you in those moments and even in the weeks to follow. But if you continue to be on like high alert with, everything that might remind you of that, that's when the mitochondrial dysfunction will start along with it. And it will actually like just affect your body and can affect your brain. But he was saying like, for people, of course, we know, no, excuse you. No, put it back. He's unstuffing my couch.
No.
Yeah. No. Let's put that back. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's sit here.
Don't be shy at you.
Okay. Hold on one sec.
Hi there, our new land. Good to see you.
Hey, our new land. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well too. So anyway, he was saying about the mitochondrial dysfunction, your fight or flight will keep it going, but so will your diet. And he was saying how important it is for these kids too. And we know that we've heard this before with like, they did the gluten-free, casein-free, but he's saying it's so much more than that. If you can get them on something like keto, they had a lot of research that went into them doing better. And kids too who have seizures, we know that a lot of them do better on the keto. Yeah, I don't do great on it because I can't. The snacking I have to be careful with. The proteins I have to choose wisely, or I'm sore. Like I'm really sore.
Right.
But
I've seen some amazing stuff on keto. I've seen people. We had a kid. Well, she was a kid. She was an adult. She had something called Rett syndrome.
Oh, is that the one where they wring their hands?
Yeah. And they were very oral fixated, but she was kind of stuck at the age 2.
Yeah.
And
you too, DIY.
And was on just a G tube, which is a gastrointestinal tube where it goes directly into their stomach. So you're feeding them like a formula or foods directly into their stomach. And this child adult I've known her since she was an adult or a child. We put her on keto, and when we put her, because she was like closing down, she was not responding. Usually, you put something on her plate, she could feed herself a little bit. You put something on her plate and she'd grab it right away and eat and all of this stuff. And she was shutting down. She was totally shutting down. And we put her on the keto diet or ketosis, put her in ketosis. And she, within a week, just opened up and became herself again.
Wow.
And it was amazing. And she was having so many seizures before that. While she was going through this period where she was shut down, her seizures practically stopped completely. Yeah. And she was going like this, and to her happy self again, always clapping and, playing. And
wow.
stuff like
That's
that.
amazing. Wow.
And so when I see kids with autism and stuff like that, and I've done a lot of research on autism and the ketogenic diet, I'm like, it opens up. And I've seen that where these kids have like totally opened up.
Right.
Like gone from where they're totally shut down, having seizures, having all kinds of crazy stuff going on, to really waking up. And yeah, it is amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing. What's so hard though is with him, and that's what I was going to say, we might have an issue with him processing protein. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work itself out with doing any kind of keto. So our next step is we're going to a gastro, but that's incredible. I wonder if that would also help those with dementia and, different types of dementia because of, just the swelling of the brain. Because I've seen what you're talking about, but I've seen it with dementia patients and music. I've seen them shut down, rolled up, like all like curled up, like you said. So you start singing old hymns that they recognize, and they just sit up and start singing with you. And like even the nurses are like,
because it fires those nerves in the brain to rewire to come back together. That music is just amazing how music is. That's why we always at the foster home that I worked in, we always played music in the rooms or their favorite TV show, so that they have interaction. But music was just something with a steady beat. Beethoven, really
Mozart,
good stuff.
We play in the car Mozart. I need to set up a stereo in the house. I guess I could do it though through I don't know if our new cable has those channels, where they had the music in the upper channels on certain cable. I don't know if our new cable does, but yeah, you're right. And they've said that with Mozart, that there's something about Mozart that helps the brain. In children. Yeah. I used to play it all the time for Hannah. And that's why I did all the things they tell you to do, but my kids still ended up high functioning autistic and not speaking, which, was very scary when, they're your first child and you're like, what is going on? Why is this happening? But yeah, that the music makes a difference. What I did do, and later, oops, I don't know where that came from. What I did do later on, it came back that this happened to quite a few children because there wasn't much speaking and engagement in the videos, those Baby Einstein videos that were popular. They were saying that actually a lot of children who watched them were having some issues with their speech. And it was because it wasn't like a engaging show to where, like how Dora was, where Dora would talk to them, or Blue's Clues, where the character would talk to the child or whatever. There wasn't enough language going on along with the music. So I was like, oh, okay. So it could have been I just wasn't interacting and giving her enough speech, at that time too. But also that was how we found out, oh no, we've got something in the family. We've got, something going on in the family.
Nursery rhymes are so powerful. That really helps with the speech.
Yeah.
These stupid songs that we don't like to listen to, they've kind of Baby Shark, stuff like that. Really, those things actually help. We hate to hear them as adults, but they do help.
Yeah. I've done that with, actually, I don't want to say who it is, but when people can't pronounce something, I'll be like, sing it. I've even done it on my live. Sing it.
Yeah.
And like for Passamaquoddy, and then like her name, and it was Maureen who gave them the melody, and sure enough, then they could say the name.
Awesome.
Uh-oh. Thank you. Swallow it, please. This is the other issue we've been having. And yes, leaves. Elmo's blowing leaves. Likes to take the top off and make a mess and play in it. And that's, some of it's sensory, but it's also to get all attention on him.
Right. There's a lot of attention seeking behavior with kiddos like that. It's harder because their brain is stuck at this age
Yeah.
But they're learning new skills.
Yes.
Like unscrewing the cap.
Exactly.
One of the things that Jonah would like to do is like take a cup, and he would very deliberately take the cup and just empty the cup on the carpet, and so and then snicker, and it's like
that's what this one does. He does a little laugh, and it's like, you've got to be kidding me. You're actually, it's not like, why is that funny to you when you like, because it got attention. Any attention. They're like, it's like any publicity is good publicity. We were saying on Miss T's today, like with the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. For them, it's like any attention is good attention to them.
Yes.
And that's why they do the like ABA with these kids and try and teach the parents, like, to make something go extinct is you can't give it as much attention, but give the preferred behavior you want the attention.
Yeah.
And it's hard to relearn all that.
Right.
Really hard. Oh, I'm glad you're good.
Well, with a deaf child, one of the things that I worked with a behavior therapist for once with him, and one of the things is deaf people, you shun them.
Oh, you just,
and so there's a lot of you just turn your back to them because what a non-deaf person that is nonverbal, it's all about the reaction that they're getting out of your face, because that's what they're reading. And so I think autistic kids kind of do that too, because
to a certain
extent, you ever notice how quickly an autistic kid will pick up sign language?
And it was so. Like, it was good because we finally all went together as a family, minus Hannah, but I got her input for the list too. I came to find out, hey, Hugo, welcome in. I came to find out that his pediatrician just is not comfortable with doing any type of medication for autistic children unless it's like, for a cold, like something like that. Because of their weird reactions. Like Malachi, if you give him Benadryl, he doesn't go to sleep. He gets hyped up and will be bouncing off the walls. And she's like, yeah, and really the medication that I could give you as a first line is kind of just like Benadryl. And that's why she's like, I'm going to refer you to this and this. I said, is there anything I can do in the meantime? I'm like, can I caffeinate him? And she's like, will he drink coffee? I said, I've tried that already. I said, and he won't drink coffee, just to see how a stimulant and him will interact, like a low stimulant. And I don't necessarily want him on any kind of stimulant and just give him a pill. It's a matter of, my poor child cannot sit down for a minute without his body having to move. Like we cannot color. He can't even enjoy coloring, because then once he does a little coloring, he's got to mush it up. And with stimulants, what some people who don't have ADHD or a child that has it, they don't understand is it acts the opposite. It calms their brain. It helps them focus more. It helps with the impulsivity. And that's been a huge issue, is his impulsivity.
It's like a Ritalin.
Yeah. But they have like all different types now.
Which is a stimulant.
Which is stimulant. So is Adderall. Adderall is a stimulant. The only thing is they get the bad rap because the kids use it in college and like snort it, like crush it and snort it and use it as a meth, practically like an upload. But we were looking at that. I've been looking at like natural things. I've tried different things, but it's getting to the point where it's self-harming stuff that I'm getting nervous about, and rightfully so. And having Theron there to hear it today, I think he even, like, it sunk in for him too. That we have to push for intervention. And it's calming for me too. It's not, I wouldn't say calming. Some people can fall asleep on it to where it's a total opposite. It's focusing for me. And I've noticed that stimulants are focusing, like when I have a cold and I've had to take Sudafed, or pseudoephedrine, I mean, I can get more things done, even though like I have a cold. Like if it's a mild cold, suddenly my focus is, oh, okay, I do this and I do that. I'm going to do that next. Like my brain is working more like a neurotypical person.
One of the things that's the hard thing is as he ages, it's very common that behaviors increase because as we age. Hi, Josh. Good to see you. We notice that he's going to notice that there's more of a difference between him and the other children around him.
Yeah.
So,
and
that's what they pick up on. And then the size of my body, the power in my body, the strength in my body, and now I'm more frustrated that I can't communicate the way I want to.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We're dealing with that for sure. And my landlord's grandson used to ask for paper just to rip it up in strips. Now stable home, he no longer. Yeah. So he was probably releasing some of his anxiety. Hey, Josh. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Someone's drank a sleeping pill. Oh, wow. Yep, you sure had the equal and opposite reaction. Yep. I believe you, because that would be this one. He would be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
He would be doing the same thing. And that's one of the ways too that you can tell that you're probably a little neurodiverse if you had that reaction. That's usually a sign.
I do not have that reaction.
Yeah, but like I know I say that, and yet Benadryl. But this might be also because I do believe I have a mitochondrial dysfunction because I have the fibromyalgia on top along with the ADHD. Yeah. But because I have the fibromyalgia, I also have the chronic fatigue, and stuff like that knock me out. A little bit of Benadryl and I can sleep, and even I'll get a hangover from it.
Yeah, that's the way I am too. I will sleep like if I have Benadryl, I'm out for the day.
For next week and a shopping list. Cool.
That is cool.
Prepping activities. You'll have to fill us in. You mean with the kids is like part of the curriculum? Cool, Shawnee.
That is cool. How you doing, Shiny?
Yes,
good to see you.
Parents didn't give him the support he needed. And again, they were addicts. And that's what's sad too, is a lot of neurodiverse people, because of their impulsivity, can easily get addicted to drugs.
Yeah, because they self-medicate.
Yeah,
they for something. That and a lot of them think that what they're doing for themselves is better than what a doctor can do for them.
Yeah. Some of that, and some of it is just the impulsivity of not being able to take one. They take three because it feels good, because it raises their dopamine, because our dopamine is what we look for, those dopamine rushes for, especially ADHD. It's like you look for the thing that you want to do versus that other thing that you don't want to do. Like you are totally wired to do the thing you want to do, and that's what you'll always seem to do first.
Right.
But I heard something for that too, and I'm going to try and use it.
Hey, Angel Craft.
Oh, the weird one. I know how that feels, and it's no fun. That I was just different. I was different in my family too, but what's funny is I was different because I had ADHD, and the other ones actually were on the spectrum, further like into the spectrum than I was.
I know how you feel. I wasn't the weird one, but I was the one in the classes, special classes, the short bus classes.
I was the one in the classes that couldn't sit still and wanted to talk all the time. So more or less, talk all the time. My hyperactivity is up here. So it just never stops. I watched somebody do it's called a POV video, or point of view, on having ADHD, and it was so good. And it's all from there. Like the camera's here up, probably was one of the ones like you have, the action cams. Probably had the head thing on. And it shows her like just even going to get a bowl of food to eat. And then she's like, oh, but I need some water. That's right. I got to stay hydrated. And she puts down her fork. And then she's like, well, where the hell is that fork? Where did I put the fork? But like everything is like that. Like, oh, I needed to do the dishes. Oh, darn, that's empty. That's right. I was supposed to get that. And she leaves like the dishwasher open to go and see if she has this or that. And I'm like, yeah, but while she's saying this to herself, you can hear this like another conversation going on in her brain. She's got that background noise like some of us have, where it's like you have multiple thoughts going on at the same time.
Right.
Or like a low kind of hum in the brain that it's hard to focus on.
Yeah.
Other things. I'm looking at arts crafts for the holiday. Oh, okay. Oh, you're prepping for next week for the holiday. I was like thinking you were doing prepping. I'm going to teach the kids how to prep.
It's crazy that it's next week already.
I know, right? That's all I need for them. Oh, sweet. Very sweet. That is you. See? It's funny, too, how we find each other, especially in social media. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And it's also, too, why, sadly, we might choose toxic people, because we are attracted to that more like energetic or that more flashy dopamine hit because they're really funny or they're a character. And yep, plenty of thoughts. Yeah, me too. And sometimes at night
Can you hear that noise?
No.
Okay,
you're good.
Washer's running up against the wall, and so it's like making a vibrating sound.
And see, that's the worst. I've got him next to me making all the noise, and the dog was moving, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay, this is a bit much. And at night, you can tell when I'm starting to shut down. You can tell, and I've started to at least use the correct terminology. Like I'll be behind the scenes after we've stopped, and I actually told Barry and Maureen, like, okay, I've got to go because I'm shutting down. Like, I'm not just tired. I can't do the
That's
talk.
how I am. You probably notice that. Like when I'm done, it's like, okay, I'm just not talking anymore. Laura needs to go to bed.
Yeah. Well, some of it for you is you also are an early riser with the, your household, and you've got a lot going on. But yes, I do. I've seen that where you're just like, okay, I'll see you guys another time. I'm done.
Yep.
Yeah. You call it multitasking. Yeah. I try to.
I'm a little bit that way, not that extreme. I'll like forget what I'm doing, but it's usually just with two things. It's not like with a bunch of things.
With multiple. Well, yeah. I think too, like and with parenting too, it's really hard. You want to do, like, Shawnee's doing it right. Here she is. She's setting up for next week already. I'm trying to deal with this week. I can't even think of next week yet. Like, what I could do though, when I was teaching, was if I had my planning book in front of me for art, because I enjoyed art.
Yeah.
Then I could maybe plan ahead, because it was more, I guess, abstract. Like with him, it's not so abstract. And I'm thinking of all like what he's going to do with certain things. Like, okay, well, if we do this project, he's going to eat that, and he's going to throw that. And so it kind of stops me completely from planning.
Right.
It becomes overwhelming. And that's why nothing is ever fully. Yeah. Well, I was the queen of leaving things in the washer and forgetting that I was doing wash. So
that's what I do. I do stuff like that. The coffee that I've reheated gets reheated a couple times.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It calms me too. That it helps me hyper focus and shut out the world when I used to paint, but I just don't have the area to really set up painting right now. And I don't feel like I have the time either, which is sad. And I have to be in a mood to start it anyway, like to have that creativity, feel like it's flowing. Yeah. Which part's true, Darthex, that you feel? Yeah. We have also thunder today, but again, rain is not coming. It's been such a weird season so far.
It was supposed to rain all day here and it hasn't. It did rain like really hard last night, so everything's watered nicely, which I'm happy about. Yeah. And then I did a weedy garden tour because my garden's full of weeds. Because...
Oh, I thought you meant like the weedy garden, the guy from Australia. I'm like, you did? What was that like?
No, I mean, it's just my garden. It's either too hot or too rainy. I mean, it's just, I can't. I'm a Canuck. I can't handle the heat.
Oh, I'm a Floridian. I can't handle. We walked out this morning there. It was stagnant. There was no breeze.
Yeah.
And it was just heat, but it wasn't as hot as my Renaissance grandma, I guess, is out and about, and she had her thermometer on her car registered at 105.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I'm not there yet.
Here it's in the 90s, but it's like feeling like 100.
Yeah, and we're getting that.
And it's like you feel this wall when you go outside of, just the moisture in the air. It's just like, the humidity is just crazy.
Yeah, that's ours is the 80s. Even it can feel like 100 because of the humidity. And yeah, it totally. And that's the thing too with them. Like they can't say all the time, I'm feeling, really hot, or I'm having a hard time with the humidity breathing.
Right.
Like we can, and then we just get behaviors.
Right.
That's with him right now. I'm trying to be more aware of what the behaviors are trying to say, especially after hearing you talk that you took that class. I'd like to know, like, is that just a class on autism spectrum?
It was a class that I took in the school that I was in.
Okay.
So it wasn't something that's available to everybody.
Okay.
Like just being around people my whole life that weren't verbal. I mean, it was for people that were on the spectrum when I worked at the school that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's really on the medical side, taking the medical clues and figuring out what's going on and just, which I think you would be good at because you've got enough history and study and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're watching for cues. You're looking at every outward sign of cue. Like you were saying, he had teeth coming in the other day, and he was drooling a lot. Well, that's
oh no, not drooling, spitting.
Oh, spitting. Well, spitting even.
Yeah, but that spitting is usually with something that he's putting in. It's coming right back out. And he does that even when, I can't say even when he doesn't have loose tooth because it's teeth. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, but
so it's finding out what is behavioral and what's not behavioral.
What's not. That's the hard part. Yeah.
Most of the behaviors though that autistic people put out there aren't just behavioral. They have a link to something.
Yeah, they're trying to communicate. So that's the problem with the ABA is they might deaden their communication. And that's what I was saying to our doctor. I'm like, well, if they fix that behavior, what if that behavior means something to him? Like he's trying to tell me something. Will it then create another behavior that's even worse because I'm still not getting it. Like he was using that behavior for a certain reason and I'm still not getting it. And now they won't let him use it like the ABA therapist. And I've heard that before. I've heard the first couple of weeks are really rough with ABA, and that might be why.
Yeah.
Talking with you a while now, I'm beginning to let go of the thought that I'm bat crazy a little. Well, we all might still be a little bit bat crazy, is what somebody told me once. I think it was actually my rheumatologist. I was like, Thank you. When he diagnosed me with the fibro, I'm like, thank you. And then said about the same thing to him. And he goes, well, I can't confirm that you're not crazy, but you do have fibromyalgia. I love him. He's like,
I think the thing about when you educate yourself about what your diagnosis is or what you got going on, and you have a good understanding, you can be a little more graceful with yourself.
True.
Plus, I think it makes it easier to overcome. You know, okay, I have this thing. How can I overcome? How can I work? And what works for me and what works against me? Right. And so, you know, a lot of people with ADHD, dyslexic and stuff like that, it's not that they can't learn, it's that they can learn differently. And so there's a learning difference that can happen. And so,
which creates parenting differences too. Like how we might parent our kids will look different, whether they're on the spectrum too or not, might look different, but it's still just as effective. Because that's the thing too, is I think it was Netta's Nest was in the side chat, and she was basically saying like she was more like classical education, and she had to learn, basically the kids had to learn differently. And she couldn't stick with her mode of how she was going to teach them in this specific manner. She had to bend it to their learning styles. So, yeah. I'm sorry. That's another thing about ADHD is I am not trying to interrupt somebody. I'm trying not to forget my thought.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Laura.
So we're always on top of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry if I made you forget yours.
No.
Today. Feel bad. Slowly moving
in. I'm not diagnosed ADHD, but I'm like,
Usually with dyslexia, it's there, and I don't know why. Like if it's the same area of the brain that's affected, there's some of it with.
Or it's just part of dyslexia. You know what I mean?
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least talking with you.
Because I forget words all the time, and I know that's part of dyslexia.
And it's also part of the change too. That's what's even more fun. The stack up. I've got the like this and the that and the that, and now menopause on top, and I'm like, yay!
I know it's part of the change because my sister, even though she had the change a long time ago, I think it's more active in the brain when you're a little bit older.
Yeah. Well, you've been without that estrogen for longer, and the brain plasticity is suffering more the longer away from those hormones.
Yeah.
And also, like I have to go out and get some krill oil because I want to try that, because that's something that you're supposed to be doing as your hormones are not there like they used to. It's I think a neuroprotectant. I'm not, let's see, I don't fit in. I'm not anymore. Big change already. Oh, good. I'm glad that you're not depressed about that. See, now when you say same, Carol, I have no idea what you're responding to. So by the time I get to this. That's why people on the panel too. People on the panel will sometimes realize what it is and they'll tell me. You'll see that happen on my panel. Yeah, but this, I totally get that. I still get those feelings sometimes, just socially. Like, I get that. Like, I don't like to do in real life socialization because I still feel different. I see these women who can do breakfast or lunch, and I've got those multiple stacks. Well, last time I went out with breakfast, I told this on one of the lives. I got sick. And I had eaten my breakfast, like all the little nice women I was out with. And they were like, okay. And they're just chatting afterwards. And my stomach flipped over. And I had to go in the bathroom and sit in the bathroom.
Right.
And it was like, really? The first social interaction?
When I went to some of the meetups, I was like, there was a lot of people that were in our chats a lot at the meetups. And I didn't recognize them because you don't see them. Right. And they're like, it's me. I'm like, oh,
who's me? Help me out a little bit. Yeah.
I remember you.
I did that at my class reunion, and the girl had not changed whatsoever from when we graduated. She's like,
Oh,
"Hey,
wow.
how are you?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hi." And she's like, "Carol, you were da da da," and she was talking about me in school, and I'm like, "Oh," and I'm like, "I don't remember you." I'm thinking, "I don't know what class I had you in. I don't know your name." They're like, "Oh yeah, it's so great to see you. But like, you changed. Like, I guess that's why." Because I had to look at her name tag. I go home, I look her up in my book, and no, she was the spitting image. She was in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Everybody just felt ridiculous. Yes, I'm that way. Yeah. Oh, it was so embarrassing. But like, and what's sad is for kids who are in school and the parents are afraid of a label and things like that, that child is being labeled, whether you're afraid of a label or not.
Right.
A child's in school struggling anyway, might as well, like Laura said, at least we know what to research and to help us kind of overcome our weaknesses if we kind of have an idea of what we're facing. And that's where a label can be like a positive. I get that you don't want your kid in a box. I totally understand that. You don't want it on their record, but you might want it on their record instead of child is extremely disruptive, child doesn't listen, child doesn't, because that'll be written in their record.
I think you got to think of it this way: is that I didn't have a mother that researched, anything, and didn't really understand it at all.
Right.
And the thing is, when you don't understand it, you can't parent properly. Like my parents should have pushed me a lot more, because I think what happens is the danger about the label, and this is why a lot of people probably don't want the label, is if I didn't have the label of dyslexia, maybe they would have pushed me more. But because I had the label of dyslexia, they didn't push me at all. It was always like, "Oh, Laura can't do that." And so when I grew up and I pushed myself more, I passed a lot of hurdles.
I think though that's the maturity in us and the drive in us that does that, and not, and even if we had a parent and I didn't have a label, but my parents still considered me less smart than my siblings, and that I wouldn't be able to do things because I was dealing with the ADHD and dyslexia, but they didn't have a label for it. So I think it's the type of parent that you get too. Like you said, she didn't research. My parents wouldn't have researched either. And I watched it too with my nephew. My nephew had all the labels and they still treated him the same way. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like,
I think sometimes, if you,
the type of parenting.
Yeah. Hopefully if you have the right kind of parent, because maybe they would have realized that I could learn, that if they just pushed me a little more and they did, not that they were great parents. Don't get me wrong, but my mom just wasn't a patient person.
Neither were my parents.
And she had her own struggles with dyslexia.
Yeah.
So it was hard. And then my father was always working, so he wasn't there to help me. So
that was my mom, I think, had a processing issue, and I wouldn't be surprised if she had a little dyslexia too, because she couldn't spell worth a darn at all. Because I would ask her to help me with the word, and she'd tell me to go look it up in the dictionary. And it wasn't until I was older that I saw that she was struggling with spelling too.
Yeah, spelling. I can read decently, but my spelling is just really, really poor.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ann. Yeah, we had a lot going on in our household, and I know Laura did too, with the other kids in the family. Please stop.
Yeah.
With the other kids in the family, and it was just chaotic. But it was like fight or flight, I think, growing up, because it wasn't there wasn't a healthy way to deal with it, because they weren't planners either. So I would definitely say both my parents were somewhere on the spectrum. But since age 5, I took over the role of care. Yeah. Oh my. I am so sorry that you had to do that. I was the caretaker of the family, but I wasn't like that. And I was neither one is healthy. If you're
that's hard. We see a lot of that in foster care where you get, my mom often took on like the kids that were in crisis that needed a home right away, and we would take them for a couple of weeks until they found them a permanent foster home. And you'd get kids, especially out of these meth homes and alcoholic homes and stuff like that, where the oldest child was raising the whole family, and they were so like, you don't talk to that's my brother, I'll take care of them, you don't help us, they were so used to doing it all themselves, and it's really sad. So I'm sorry.
I'm really sorry.
And that's really hard to be.
And to add to that, and then some of yours also might be trauma. It might not just be, an ADHD or a spectrum issue. Some of it can be
part of my issue
trauma.
Is what's that called? Drawing a blank. Trauma. I know most of mine is trauma.
Oh, PTSD. What are you going to say?
Yes, I have PTSD.
Okay.
That's one thing I have been diagnosed with is PTSD, and after my breast cancer is when it came on.
Oh, sure.
But I had been through a lot as a child.
Right.
That had nothing to do with my home. It had to do with just trauma in school and rape. Let's put it that way. That I had shoved away. I had shoved away and didn't know it was there. And then just the drama with my first husband. He was a bit abusive. Not so much physically. He did throw things at me, but and he was a severe alcoholic. And then when I got cancer is when all of that came forth. And I had to go through counseling for a long time because I had PTSD. It was just like the third strike,
that it made everything surface. It's made things start surfacing. But that was your body's way of trying, and that's what they talk about with fight or flight. It's your body's way of trying to actually save you. And your body's way was your brain, it needed to throw up. Your brain, so your body could survive the cancer, probably. Because you've talked about that, like people who go through extreme trauma that you've noticed that they all of a sudden deal with cancer within the next following couple of years. So there's definitely a connection, I think, for some people with cancer.
You see a lot of people that there's a lot of Dutch people, a lot of people that went through the war and stuff like that. There's a good book out there, and I totally forget the name of it. It's by a Dutch author, of the people that went through starvation and stuff like that, developed a lot of cancers in their older life.
Wow.
As they started to remember those things, and those things came back to haunt them.
And the body your brain doesn't actually ever forget it. It's still back there. It's just maybe not in that part of your brain where it's a conscious thought, but it's always in that subconscious area where it might come out in dreams or your health. Hey, How to Garden. Good to see you.
Hey there. How you doing, How to Garden?
And I was guilty of that with my daughter. And I think when you have that where you're not safe or you don't feel safe as a child, you want so badly for your children to feel safe. You don't want them to ever feel safe or any of those negative emotions that you had to go through. And I don't mean like toughen up so you can, be a survivalist. And you can, I mean, as that mothering,
I did the same thing.
Nurturing heart does not want that pain for your child like you went through.
Because when I left my first husband, and then my children finally were in a place where they could share with what was actually going on. I mean, my daughter made a fort in the attic of our house, and that was a place where she played her Disney music and would sing and all of this stuff. And I didn't realize she was actually hiding up there. That's where she would spend after school. She went straight up into the attic, and that was her safe place. Because my ex-husband would always target her. She was the target. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. And so after we were separated and I was divorcing, as soon as I said the word divorce and they knew I was going through that process,
right,
all of a sudden all their trauma and their stories came out because they felt safe.
Oh, wow.
So,
and they probably thought you were safe too. Like you were in an unsafe position to where they didn't feel probably that they could tell you because you couldn't do anything since you were stuck in it too. Like what is going to burden mom more than she already is.
Right.
Yeah, I totally understand that. This is the other thing that he'll do is sensory on laughing, and he can just laugh, it's cute, but it's not, I don't know, it's just weird. Like it can just go on and 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 on in kind of an unnatural way. But it's because he's stimming on it. Like I think of the feeling of the vibration. Yeah. Which I'd rather have this than the, yelling and throwing and things like that. But that's the one thing too is somebody with ADHD with him is noticing all those nuances, is having to force myself to tune in and be present with him in the times that we have like playtime, or because like I know how people are like, oh my gosh, she never spends any time with her son. No, he doesn't spend time with me either. Like they can be that way. Like it's really like both our times kind of have to match up. But I will, I do try to, start things with him, but it seems like every time that I am talking with you guys is when he wants to reciprocate. That's when he wants me. But if we're just sitting here and I'm not live with you guys, he could care less about me. Really, I'm just the lady that brings
100%. And that's how Jonah was too. Jonah would be off in his own little world.
Right.
As soon as I picked up a phone or I wanted to watch a show or I was on a live, it would be that way. And that's why, I mean, there was lives where he was sitting right by me, and, he'd love to say hi to everybody and stuff like that. Yeah. And that was the time, I guess, when it was, the 2020 and, all that stuff was going on. So school was happening that way too. So
right.
He was like, hey, this must be school.
Mom must be in class. Yep, pretty much. That's so. I don't know what he thinks of it. He just thinks of it, I think, like a phone. And a lot of kids can do that. But I mean, he really, he tears up stuff that, is a game or something that we're doing or has a fit because he doesn't want to do it to get out of it. So, it's definitely interesting because I know people must be like, oh, look, her son wants her and she just is ignoring him and she's online. No, trust me. Mommy has to do this because of my disability, my own disability, because if I don't, I won't have as much patience for him and all his things that he does, like what I just caught him doing and stuff.
You need socialization too.
I need socialization. The hard part right now is finding that for him. And I'm hoping that maybe by finding like ABA or therapy that it might open the door. Because that was the other thing for Hannah. Once I had a label or a diagnosis, I was looking for therapies and I found horseback riding therapy for her. Now he is right now too impulsive and physical, like physically impulsive. But she was a perfect candidate because she wasn't. And, cute little girl too. Like she was a spokeschild for their program because she looked so cute in the, little outfit.
Jonah loved it. Oh, did he? So good for him. Yeah.
I would like he loves seeing the horses and watching Hannah, but you get him up close and it freaks him out. Like they're so large. And I want to take him down there again, but the only one that we have is about an hour away. And now they've changed 95 here to where it is you have to pay. It's like the turnpike to get on. And that wasn't at all that way when we had her in the riding program. But that riding program was good for her in that she got to talk. She was developing her speech, but her speech was developed not just with kids, it was with adults, just like it would have been kind of in school, but she had all different age groups that she was developing speech with, which is more like real life. Get down right now. No. What did you do? Give me it.
He grabbed something.
Yeah, he grabbed paper towel because the paper. He's just looking for anything and everything to take the attention. No, I know how it is because I have a cousin, severe autism, and she was always in her own world. Yeah. Yeah. He's not to the point where he's doing like the rocking and he's in like, his own world totally. He does let me in there, but it's always on his terms. It's very hard to break through and have interaction. I don't know if I would trust him with that, Shawnee, even with a harness, because then he would be going up that wall if we didn't have a way to lock it up.
Yeah.
He would be going up it, and we have tile floors here. So he would be trying to go up it without the harness on. And I'd like to kind of sell the house, but that would be like so cool. I could maybe, I don't have the room for it though right now. He has a trampoline. It's a shape where you can stand on it or you can rock on it. It's one of those boards and he can spin on it and everything too. He's got the one you can spin on that's shorter. So he does do like the motor activities that are like that when we got close.
So what kind of therapies is he in?
He's not right now. That's the problem. We've been having a whole issue with the first ABA, and I told her when they finally got back to me because they were looking for someone certified to be over their assistants. I guess the doctor had quit and they were looking for somebody to head up the program. They got the person to head up the program that they all would work under. We'll just say that their English speaking of another language, the English wasn't so strong. And he needs to learn how to speak. So I was like, okay, that's not going to work.
Right.
Hey, DCBs, I don't know if I said greetings to you. Hey. Oh, he's tooting now, really loud. Just so you know, it's not me. But the other thing, gosh. But that, like all his therapy, we lost it when Mom was here and she was in like hospice because they couldn't really come in and out of the house prior to that.
Once you lose a therapy chain, it's really hard to get back into.
It's very hard. And then I found one that they were going to train me, but they were not in network. They were going to train me to be like the assistant. But then the more I read about it, it was like, yeah, but you make a co-payment. And I'm like, co-payment for what? Oh, they're still going to be like maybe on a Zoom call with me. But I thought they were training me so the co-payment would come here to me because I'm going to be the one doing the work. Like, I get that. It was just weird. But then once I found out his insurance wouldn't even cover it, I was like, yeah, that's not going to work because that's going to be very, very expensive. They were loud. Her mom was, they're, she was really severe. That's, I have a neighbor that he's real severe like that, except for he ended up, they got him in a special needs school and he ended up doing well, but that special needs school is private. And again, lots of money.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant at the house. How did I miss that? Would he like it? Oh my goodness. Because I just assumed because we were talking about therapies in the home. I wasn't thinking about therapies outside the house at that moment. He probably would. He might, or he might be afraid of it. That's the thing we never know with his anxiety. We don't know which way it'll swing. Got it. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd have to look it up. The other problem is, Shawnee, is he sticks his hands in his mouth chronically. He has oral motor fixation and toys. So a lot of the like outside stuff, and with his lower immunity, he seems to catch just about everything because of that.
Yeah. Have you tried the vibrating toothbrush or the?
I actually have that on the list to get after talking. It was not just to you, but also another person who does special needs stuff. I have the vibrational toothbrush, and there were some other things that I had put in my cart on. But that one, it's not necessarily the toothbrush, it's shapes that you can put on the end, different shapes. That's like $40-something. That's the only thing about therapy stuff. They just tack on the word therapy and it sends it through the roof. It's applied behavioral analysis, DCBs. Stop, Malachi. One of the things I did print off and I found on another website is kind of the basics of it. It's where you have a behavior. Wellness. It's where you have a behavior and I'm going to have to turn this off. Hold on. I'll show you the work page. Let me just find it. Hey, Wellness with Frugal Mama. Welcome in. Okay. So here's the work page. That's what it looks like. You're not going to be able to see much of it. The antecedent. These are big words, and I'll explain those too. Yeah.
Antecedent is the whatever triggers them.
There you go. I knew she would know. I knew what Laura would know. Yes, the antecedent. So you put in the time when the behavior happens, and it's the antecedent. What was happening just before the behavior occurred? Were there directions given, a task given, describe the environment? Like you're trying to get your clues as to, and then it asks you what was the behavior. And it says describe the behavior in observable terms. And then the consequence. What happened as a result of the behavior, the response by teacher, other adults, student. And then hypothesize function. Why did the student engage in the behavior? I.e., was it for attention, to escape a task, to have control of the situation, self-stimulatory, to get tangible reward. So this I just printed out, but that kind of is right. Wouldn't you say that's kind of like ABA? And then what they'll do is they'll track it. Yeah. They'll track all that and do some kind of analysis because they're kind of science brainy and stuff. And I'm not science brainy. I like science, but I mean, I'm not like that high order. I don't think. Yeah. I don't. 34. Oh, wait, what? Missed the one. Oh my goodness. The mom or the daughter did at 34. The daughter with special needs or the mom? Because that would be horrible if it was the mom and the mom's the only one she ever let in.
Yeah.
DCBs, I should check and see. Let me write that down. I need to come and visit you anyway. I know I'm sure lacking, and this is part of the reason why is I've just been overwhelmed with dealing with what Laura was saying is the task, the ability to do tasks that could endanger him is increasing, but not so much with the cause effect. The understanding of cause effect isn't necessarily increasing.
Right. So there seems to be a level where the danger, of what they're actually doing because they're stronger, they have more ability, but they still don't understand what they're doing. So
yeah. The one thing too, DCBs, is I have to be careful if he does like bees, they can get hyper interested in things, and I don't want him seeing something that we don't see and he runs right over to say, a wild hive. It's like you have to kind of overthink with these kids, and that's what's hard. It's like, okay, am I overthinking it too much? Yeah. But I think he can watch some of your bee videos and we'll see if he responds to the hum, because we were talking about that too with vibrations and things like that help these kids too, and help us as parents. Like Diva was saying, she responds to those videos. I wish she was in the background listening. There are certain hertz. I can't remember the binaural beats that they do for brain and for focus and stuff that they help her sleep. There's some that are on that. So yeah, low tone buzz. Yep. I know you were saying that it helps you with what you have going on with your ears, the ear ringing. No, I wrote it down to remember it. DCBs. I figure out cause and effect. Yeah. Yep. That's hard for even people sometimes. Like I have to say, even,
Yeah.
I had a friend that was very good at cause and effect to the point where it was like scary. She knew like business wise and also social emotional wise. Like if she did this, then that might happen. And she would have like 3 different scenarios. I'm like, how does your brain do that?
Yeah.
Like, I wish my brain did that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, Storms. Yummy. I have blackberries, but sadly they weren't fresh from anywhere near me. Oh, the daughter. Yeah. They sometimes do die younger. She also had low immune. Always. Hi, honey. I see you. I know. I want to control the situation. That's why Laura and I went, You can try putting the video on big screen. Yeah. That's a great idea, DC. Okay.
Yeah. I
can try that for sure. Thanks, guys, for these ideas. And Shawnee, thank you. I don't know why I was thinking it was inside. Maybe because we have this big, tall wall in our house that actually, if it was strengthened, it would actually work for clients.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Frederick Dunn. Oh, okay. He's great at filmography. I haven't. Okay. Oh, okay. I'll have to check. Let me write that down too. Frederick Dunn. Yeah, I would love to have some of these filming abilities that some of these people have on YouTube, these professionals, or at least.
Good morning to you, friend.
Hold on. There we go. What about highly structured activities that have clear goals? Yeah, no, he won't play board game. Floor puzzles, we do that with him with the huge pieces. Keeping him focused on it is sometimes difficult, but if it has not too many pieces, yeah, Shawnee, he likes that.
Yeah,
it's then putting it away where he won't take it down himself and eat it.
Right.
I try to figure out cause and effect with the bees. Oh, interesting. Beekeepers are always trying to figure out why our bees do what. Hey, Didic Farms. I don't know if I said that. Didic Farms. Welcome in, Didic Farm. I don't know if he came over from you, but he's, been on my channel too.
Yeah.
Before.
I think he.
Yeah. Oh, have sweet sleep then, Anne. I'm not going to go on much longer because it's almost 4 here. And
well,
yeah, that's our make dinner time. Gotta go have fun. All right. You have a great night too, Anne.
Yep. Bye, Anne.
I think we covered quite a bit. We did pretty good today.
Yeah.
That if anybody finds it, hopefully they'll get something out of it. Yeah. And it's funny because we come from both sides of that issue of like the labeling, but my parents too, they didn't push me harder, even though they knew I was struggling in school.
I kind of think it's the age where
might have been they didn't get help.
Right.
They had to do it on their own too. So they didn't know as a parent probably that they could help us maybe.
Yeah.
Teachers just did that. That was the age where it was like teachers just do that. Yeah. Doctors are like gods. Like everybody's role was their role kind of thing. There wasn't much flexibility.
Yeah.
And of course, doctors were, they know everything.
Yep.
And we've learned, no, they practice on you, and some of them don't. And some of them are harmful.
Yeah, doctors practice.
Yes, they practice.
They practice.
Same. I didn't have the latchkey, though. My mom was a little bit nervous about that since I was the baby of the family. And because she saw my ADHD, I was like in my own little world a lot.
I was too.
Yeah, so she probably was a little concerned that I would get taken. I don't know. Or I would just get into trouble. Like, what would I get into? Because I do remember being like around, I think it was around, it had to be between age 5 and 8. And mom started giving me those Flintstone vitamins, and I liked the purple ones, and I got into them. And I don't know if they were with iron or not, but with iron can kill you. You get enough of that.
Yeah.
And I ate them like candy. She found me with the vitamins, eating them. And then she put them out of reach, even for her reach. I remember her stepping on a chair to get it herself where she put it.
Mm-hmm. My mom did that with aspirin, baby aspirin. You remember the kind that they had really good taste, yummy.
Yes,
aspirin?
The cherry flavor.
I overdosed on aspirin, and they were rushing me to the hospital, and I threw it up.
Oh, thank God.
They went home after that. They're like, okay, if she doesn't throw up, then come in,
Wow. Yeah. Yes, that's what they practice doing.
I was playing doctor, and I was,
Yeah, I was just medicating myself because I figured I needed these because they tasted so delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, you were a farm kid? That was my dad. My dad was a farm kid. Key farm kid. You chose then homework and your chores, and then then you right. Yep. Right. You didn't get seen until dinner time. Yep. Yeah, we were the generation of to be seen and not heard. And I think our parents were that generation too. They were expected to.
You didn't come home until the lights were on, and then
right.
Yeah,
that was, I think, on the weekends I was allowed to do that. Weekday, depended if it was like Friday or if we didn't have school the next day. But yeah, we were allowed to stay out really late until the lights came on. I remember freaking my parents out because it was really cool. There was, I think it was there was like 2 connected cul-de-sacs, maybe even a third out in California. And I went over to the second, and they didn't know because my friend Jenny and her brother had a house over there, and I was at their house, and my mom didn't know. And she came out, I guess, looking for me before that dinner time. And that was the time too. You didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
And it freaked her out. My poor mother.
It's amazing though. I mean, I found, I was like, how did they even know what I was doing?
I don't know.
My parents did for some reason. They would talk to the other parents and figure things out.
I think we were in the aspect that we played and learned through play. They even have something for these kids called play therapy because you do learn by playing. And now most of the playing is done through these. And it doesn't allow for that kind of self-sufficiency like you're thinking of it. I think. I kind of. But we also know the kids were kids and mean people were mean people. We just didn't hear about it back then, and those stories are still coming out from Gen X about what happened to those children back then that wasn't in the news because we didn't know. Even I remember being like 16 and there was maybe 20 something guys that would hang around like our youth group, and you didn't think anything of it, but now it's like, ew.
And there was a lot of like behaviors when we were kids too, like kids pantsed each other and stupid stuff like that nowadays that would be considered.
Yeah.
I mean, people would get in big trouble for that. And back then, it's like it happened,
Yeah, I do too. It has grown steadily worse. Yeah. Because of what we've been exposed to and what's been normalized, even though like Laura said, like that's not necessarily normalized, but a lot of other stuff our kids are seeing. And I don't want to say it's just normalized, but it kind of is. And they're seeing a lot more through both screens.
Yeah.
The TV and the phone screens. And even the games have become increasingly more gory and realistic from when Hannah was a kid. Like we went from like Zelda and we had Donkey Kong and Pac-Man, and I remember when Mortal Kombat came out, and it was like, oh, there's blood in it, and like digitized compared to the stuff there is now.
Yeah, when we were kids, people got shot and there was no blood.
Right? Yeah, on TV. That's right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's interesting though when you talk about. There's a lot of cultural things that are happening that where in Hollywood on TV shows there has to be certain norms things that they want to push as norms, and there's always certain couples on there that they really want to push as norms, and it's the same thing that they were talking about why they want they call everything equal rights nowadays. Because they want to make it sound normal that they have the right to do things and stuff like that. It's just interesting that the push is to make all these behaviors that are really bad and nasty to be normal.
Yeah.
And so that's all I'll say.
Yeah, well, the thing is, too, is they are using that as a vehicle to normalize the pedos. And even that group doesn't, like some of the people in that group don't want anything to do with that. Like, because, I don't want to really touch on that too much, but I know. Yeah. But I will say
legislation.
There's a lot of weird
legislation that's going through right now. And this is all I'll say.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Because if we make it a law.
What the hell? Hold on. Oh my gosh. Something just came off a pause. Sorry. On my side. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was creepy. Can you hear me? Because it just hit my settings. Okay.
It didn't.
Okay. We're all right. Okay.
If we pass laws that allow certain things to happen, then what happens in society is then if my government says it's okay, then it has to be okay.
Right. Well, speaking of government, I want you guys to, if you can, go and look at the president of Mexico, go and look at her last name, and then look for the Mexican flag behind her when she speaks to Mexico for the first time. It's very interesting, and it shows that the agenda is kind of coming from the end, what we used to call the NWO. But yeah, it's there. But I don't want to keep harping on that.
Yeah, we need to,
because it's a hot, and somebody recently was really hurt by it. But still, it is. They even say that it might be even our CIA that's pushing that in order to redo society with more easily controlled folks. We'll just say that more easily controlled folks, because I know I saw something about that, and like legislation and just people even in politics saying how we need reprogramming, which is terrifying. Oh, he said this up here. Hold on. As a video gamer, I agree. Parents should keep their kids off social media. Pay attention. Yeah, that also, with us getting thumbs up and getting ratings from them being a small child on social media, say they're young, even 13, even, that they say they can go on. That is actually programming them for being controlled more easily. Because they're looking for that thumbs up all the time. They're looking for that, that mob mentality if they're accepted by the mob. So then if they are accepted by the mob, they will therefore start to follow what the mob is telling them to do.
Yeah.
The list of things to do at home. That is ABA Center. We used to play with them. Yeah, okay. If you found a really good one, Shawnee, shoot me that like in Messenger.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Shoot me that in Messenger. Because some of them I've done like a lot. I took on after we couldn't find any, and they're very difficult with him. Like that's what I was telling her about his sensory experiences with doing any kind of sensory play. I have the water beads done, like writing in sand. The shaving cream was the most safe thing because it was outside. But all that gets thrown, he will throw. He gets overstimulated and will throw some of the stuff out of his sensory boxes. So I have to make sure, like, of course, that I'm there and I'm showing him how to play with it and I'm bringing out little things to play in it. But I cannot, like, leave that moment with him at all, like get a phone call, nothing. Yes. But I also cannot allow the moment to go on for too long because it overstimulates him and then he just goes and the hands start going and it all comes out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of frustrating as a parent because I would try and do all these things as an art teacher and they'd get destroyed. They just, even if he completed the task, he would grab at the thing he just did and rip it out of my hands. Yeah, it is the world order. Yep, they just changed it. Yeah. They just changed the name. Yeah. Yep. What about those rain six? Yes, he's had those. He likes them, then he eats them. But yeah, I've made him the visual ones that you can make yourself, where you put like little things inside of it, like like find the, animal or whatever you've done and put in it's like a, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was like a soap and water mix, and oil and soap and water mix.
Where is he cognitively at? What is his? Does he have an age?
Behavior wise, he's probably at a 2, maybe. He was very, very, very low when he was tested. Yeah.
So he's basically at the age that Jonah was at.
Yeah.
So cause and effect is huge.
Yeah, cause and effect is just not really there. But what was I going to say? But he does once in a while surprise me, and this is what I told our doctor today too, is when he's had his melatonin at the end of the day. He's had some calming herbs too. We read books. We sit down and read books before bed to kind of settle him, and also so the screen isn't right there before bedtime. And he sight reads words. He can sight read words. And I said, I know with my daughter, because of her hyperlexia, that helped her with speech. I said, but I can't calm him down during the day enough to get that.
Right.
But, when he has the end of the day where he's expended all this like extra energy, where he's fidgeting all day long. Yeah.
Well, if he can sight read words, the next step is word structure or sentence structure, or
that's the hard part is he will sight read. But I don't know if it's a speech issue of certain words connected to one another. But I'll get like this thing, like when we are doing sentences, it's just like, and I'm like, okay, I'll read it to him, and it's still I don't know if it's speech or he just wants to rush through at this point. Yeah, it's things like
that's awesome though.
Cards, emotion story. Yeah, we've done the Mr. Potato Head. We have the little people. He eats them. I even bought him a ton. I bought him a ton of those little Michaels, so he would at least have a little black boy in the collection that looks like him. And yeah, he's eaten, I think, 3 Michaels now. So yeah, I still have more though. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Well, ours would probably have to be half that, 5 or even less minutes with him. Thank you so much, Shawnee.
That's cool.
I have to get back to work. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go because I know Laura and I have to get back to being homemaker helpers people's
Yep.
stuff. Thank you. Have a blessed day too, DCBs. I hope this is helpful for anybody who needed it today.
Yeah.
And, hang in there. We'll all go through stuff with our kids, with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like Laura said, once you get to know certain things, you can be more gracious to yourself or your child who isn't, we aren't necessarily doing things on purpose when we do them. And sometimes, we have to remember they aren't either. Although some things are purposeful and we have to be able to figure out what, sort it out.
My husband's always saying I'm interrupting him, and it's like, because I don't want to forget.
Yes.
So.
That's mine too. And I'm like, because I don't want to forget. You have a better memory than I do. I'm like, I'll forget what I wanted to say. And yeah, I totally get it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. And do you have any lives coming up, or you just released?
I got a video coming out at 4:00, but that's it.
Okay. Check out, Hedgehog's Homestead has lots of great videos on her channel. If you're looking how to run a homestead, create a garden, grow certain things like her gorgeous onions and garlic recently, or store some garlic too, like how she's storing some of her garlic and using it in her household. She's got those. I have the next thing is Fibro Friday at 2:30 p.m. And I'm trying to keep these at like similar times during the day. So it'll be easier for people who want to make them. And then nighttime is 11:30 p.m. Eastern is Friday, late night. What was this? Hold on. I had to break myself of talking louder over someone who's talking. Yeah, I have an issue with that when somebody's ADHD is super severe and they just don't stop and give you a window.
My husband's like that.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I've met some of them too. And I can get like that too. And not realize it. At least with like you, with Barry, you guys could like, hey Carol, how you doing today? Yeah, you're maybe running a little manic on your talking today. I don't know what would be like a code word my good friends could give me if I'm
I give you license because I'm the same way,
Yeah, I think we are gracious towards each other that way. We understand one another.
And we complete each other's sentences too. It's like
we do.
Like
yeah. And like that's the same thing like GT and I are trying to figure out how the heck did we both get worm stuff on the same exact day. We do that like sometimes too. It's so bizarre. And of course Maureen. Loud you were bad about the loud interrupting. Oh, I never noticed that about you, Storm. Never did. Oh, honking. Which one is that?
That's Astro.
Oh,
he's barking at nothing.
Oh, he's hallucinating. Poor baby. Much love, Astro. All right, y'all. See you soon.
All right.
Much love. Let me hit the right button.